Hello and welcome to my favorite wrap up. I read 7 books, which is the same amount of books that I read in January, which is kind of interesting. My average rating was 3.78, which is a tiny bit more than January, literally the tiniest bit. But I'm still really close to 4 stars, which I'm gonna take it as a win. And then in total, I read 2,915 pages, which is basically 3,000 pages. So we're done with that. Again, very proud of myself that I am prepared and I actually know those numbers. But now I'm gonna start talking about each book. I'm gonna try and keep this short because I really want to keep my wrap-ups really short. I don't want them to be 20 minutes long or something like that. So the first book that I read is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I have a video about this book on my channel, so if you want more thoughts, you can go and watch that. But I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. The whole plot of the book was kind of weird for me at first, but I feel like it was done great. My biggest issue with this book was the third act conflict. It felt like out of nowhere. It didn't really make sense for me. I would say that that was my biggest problem with the book. Other than that, it could have been even higher rated, like maybe even 5 stars, but the third act conflict was just, we didn't need that. So that was the first book. The second book that I read was Change of Heart by Kate Canterbury. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. This is basically a one-night stand, a failed one-night stand, I guess. So our female main character goes to this wedding. She's a wedding crasher with her best friend, essentially. She ends up having a one-night stand with the groomsman, I'm pretty sure. A couple of weeks later, months later, she goes to her work. She's a doctor. She works in a hospital. So that was also kind of interesting. And she runs into the guy, the groomsman, which was amazing. I really loved it. I loved the writing. This is the first book that I'm reading from Kate Canterbury. I know that a lot of people read In a Jump from her. I haven't read that yet, but this was really good. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Okay, I did have some small issues. It did start as a book that I thought would be maybe 5 stars, then it went down to 4.5 stars, and then at the end it was 4 stars. My biggest issue was the fact that we're talking about a one-night stand, okay? We're talking throughout the whole book about that one night, and we never saw it. And I'm not talking about the spicy part. I'm talking about the fact that in order for you to be so attracted to each other, you probably talked a bit that one night, but we didn't see that. So when our main character was so obsessed with her because of that one night, I could not understand that because I didn't see that one night. So I don't know what you're talking about. So that was my biggest issue with it, and that kind of made me not be so connected and not understand so much why they like each other so much. But overall, I really enjoyed the characters. I really liked the writing. I'm definitely going to be picking up more books from this author. Then I moved on to Face Off by Chelsea Curta. I don't know how you pronounce her name. I really need to look it up. This was so good. I have heard amazing things about this book. I read a Christmas book from this author and I really enjoyed it. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna pick up another book. And I loved it. I was so close to giving it 5 stars. Again, I feel like so far, every single book that I read this month, I was so close to giving it 5 stars, but it was a tiny bit repetitive. I feel like we got the middle of the book, I want to say, that was kind of the same again and again. The same thing was happening, and I feel like we could have made that whole part of the book a tiny bit shorter, and then I wouldn't be bored, because when the same thing happens again and again and again, I end up being bored at some point. So that was that. And also because of that, it did feel like it dragged out a bit. I still enjoyed it. It's about 2 hockey players. One is female, one is male. I love the first impression, the first interaction that they had. I love them as characters. I love the writing. I really enjoyed the plot, but I did think that it could have been a tiny bit shorter. And we're talking about a book that is over 400 pages. I think that it's close to 450 pages, something like that. So it could definitely be shorter and I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Now that being said, I'm very excited to go in the second book and the third book, but I did really enjoy this. I gave it 4.25 stars. Thinking about it, I might bump it up to 4.5 stars, but I'm not 100% sure. Then I read The Wingman by Stephanie Archer. This is the 3rd book in the Vancouver Storm series. This was a really good book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I kind of had similar problems with this one as I had with Face Off. I love the writing. I really like the characters, but they were not perfect for me. They were not the kind of characters that I instantly feel connected to and I feel attached to. But what's similar with the Face Off is I do think that this also dragged out a bit and it was a tiny bit repetitive. The difference with this one is that the first part of the book felt repetitive for me. I feel like we were going on this cycle of we're having a cute moment together, then we're doing some wingman thing, then we're hanging out with the whole group, and then it's all over again, the same thing. So it felt a tiny bit repetitive, especially until we reached the part part where things started to progress, I guess. After we reached that part, I really enjoyed the book. I had a lot of fun with it, but that was one of my issues. And then my biggest issue, honestly, was the fact that so many things in here were not needed, and the biggest one being Darcy's ex. The whole point of this book is supposed to be we have Darcy and her ex was best friends with Hayden, and then Darcy also is best friends with Hayden, so they used to be like a trio of best friends, I guess. Darcy ends up breaking up with her ex, obviously Kit, so she moves in with Hayden and she's like, I want to be a player. Can you show me how to be a player? Can you be my wingman? You go straight into the story, which I really liked, but I didn't really understand why we needed the whole wingman situation. I feel like we really tried very hard to make it a thing, and I got kind of tired of seeing the word wingman in the book. And then also, I don't really understand why we needed Kit to be best friends with Hayden. I feel like we could have done something more with that, or if we didn't want to do something more, we could have just not have him be best friends with Hayden. We barely touched that whole thing. That might be just me because this book has great ratings, but yeah, I just had an issue with it. I didn't feel like we needed that connection between them. He could have just been a random guy because we never really saw him. So what kind of relationship do you have if throughout the whole book he literally sends you only 2 texts? I will say I cannot wait to read the 4th book in this series. We get a couple of glimpses from the characters of the 5th book in this one, and I'm very excited about that. So after that, I ended up listening to If the Ring Fits by Camilla Isley. This is the 2nd book in the Funny Feelings, I think it's called, series. The first one is a Christmassy book. I read it in December. I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun rom-com, and this one feels the same, honestly. At first, I was really excited because I thought that it would be so good. I was having so much fun, but as it kept going, it dropped to a 3.5 stars, which is still a really good rating. Don't get me wrong, it's still a really good rating, but I was honestly thinking that it would be a 4.5 stars because this is marriage of convenience. It's fake dating. She is pregnant. It's not his kid, so you have that pregnancy going on, and I was so excited, but I feel like it wasn't done that well. It started off really well. I loved how the first chapter, the prologue, basically, it's kind of the end of the book and then you go to the beginning. I love that. But when we reached the end, I was like, what is going on? There was a huge miscommunication that was dumb for me. I feel like we could have done that whole thing very easily. It felt kind of like the author knew what she wanted to do. She was like, I don't know how to execute it, so let me just do whatever I can to make it happen, and that's it. It didn't make sense for me. I was expecting something better, so then I was very disappointed when the ending came. So that was my biggest issue with the book, which was so sad because I was genuinely thinking that this would be a favorite book. And then after that, I went into Husband Material by Alexis Hall. I read Boyfriend Material, I want to say last year, maybe 2 years ago even. I'm not sure, but I didn't like it. That's the important part. I didn't like it. I think I gave it like 2 stars or something. I actually really hated that book. So you might be wondering, okay, if you hated the first book, why did you pick up the second one? And I'm gonna tell you. First of all, it was an audiobook. I was in the mood for an audiobook and I was going through them and I saw this and I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of interested. So I was like, okay, let me pick it up because I am interested now, but there's no chance that I'm gonna be interested later. So I picked it up. I was like, okay, maybe now that I know the characters a bit, I can go into it with lower expectations, because I went into the first book with pretty high expectations, I would say, because everyone was raving about it and they were saying that it was like Red, White and Royal Blue, which I love that book. So I decided to pick it up and listen to it and just maybe like wrap up this duology, I guess. I don't think that it's going to be a trilogy. The third book has been announced, like the title of it has been announced for years at this point. So I don't think that there's going to be a third book. And to be honest, even if it does come out, I don't think that I'm gonna read it. I am done with these characters. I ended up giving Husband Material 2.75, which is pretty good, actually, compared to the first book. Pretty good. But I wouldn't say that this book is good. This was still bad. It's just because I knew the characters, I knew what I was getting myself into. I went into it with no expectations. I actually went into it with very low expectations, to be exact. When something crazy was happening, I was just laughing. I was just taking it as a parody or comedy or something like that. And I think that's the only way why I didn't hate every second of it. Now, that being said, I didn't have fun. Let me be clear. I still had so many moments of this book that I was like, how is this published? How did somebody write this and read it and was like, yeah, this is good. I don't think that these two characters should be together at all. Like, no. One of our main characters, I was like, oh, maybe he's going to be better in this book. No, he was even worse. I don't even know how that's possible, but I don't get it. I don't understand the relationship. I honestly don't understand how people like this book and how people like them together. That being said, I do want to try more books from Alexis Hall because I'm thinking that maybe it was just these characters and then maybe like some other characters I'm gonna enjoy more. So I'm not done with this author, but I am done with this couple. And the last book that I read in February is Hexapale by Kate Johnson. This is a witchy romance and it was so good. I gave it 3.5 stars, which I know doesn't sound like amazing, but it's a really good reading. I really enjoyed it. I don't think that I'm necessarily in love with witchy books. I do enjoy them, but I don't love them. Like, I don't see myself giving them above 4 stars. Okay, this is kind of hard to explain it. We have Joss and we have Essie. So Essie is a witch and she lives in this house with 3 more witches, I'm not sure. And Joss, he just inherited that house from his father, right? So Joss is from the US and Essie lives in the UK. Joss is like, oh, I have property in the UK. Let me go there and see what is going on. My life is falling apart in the US, so let me move to the UK. He does that. While he's searching up things about his properties, he realizes that the people that live in this house have not paid him rent in decades. So he's like, that's suspicious. So he's trying to find that house to realize what is going on. And guess who lives in that house? Essie. And Essie is a witch. There were some other like magical aspects. I don't really want to talk about them. I don't want them spoiled. At first I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this, but after I got into it a bit, I had so much fun. If you read The Kiss Curse, The XX by Erin Sterling, that trilogy, and you didn't love it necessarily, but you feel like you could enjoy something witchy, I would say maybe give this one a chance because in my opinion, I think that this one is even better. I didn't love that trilogy. I actually think that the best book was the third one, but this one was so fun. I actually felt like I was living in Halloween Town and they were actually witches and they were doing magic and spells and every witch had their own kind of special talent, I guess. And it was just so good. I'm definitely gonna be picking up the rest of the books. I think so far there's 2 more. So I don't know if there's going to be more. I'm thinking maybe not, but I am so happy that I finally picked this one up because it was so good and I enjoyed it so much. And it was just an easy, fun, witchy rom-com that would be perfect to read in Halloween. Obviously I read it in February, but that's fine. I'm gonna read the rest of the books in Halloween, hopefully. Like I said, that was the last book that I finished, but I did start 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This was on my TBR for the month and I really wanted to give it a chance. And when I say I started, I mean that I'm on chapter 2, page 24. I don't have any thoughts about that. I just wanted to let you know that I did start it because it wasn't my favorite TBR and I really want to complete them. So I wanted to just kind of let you know that I did in fact start it. I just never finished it. I'm probably gonna finish it in March. I'm probably just gonna take my sweet time doing that because I have read 1 chapter and I cried already, so I'm kind of scared. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna take my time with that. But those are all the books that I read in February. I am so happy with the readings. I am so happy with the books that I read. I feel like I found some new authors. I read some new favorite books and I'm so happy. I'm hoping that March is going to be even better. But yeah, that's all I had to say. I hope that you liked this video and I hope that I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
You give me butterflies when you smile and it feels so